Okay. Sound check, sound check. Alright, put that. Alright. Toggle mute on those. Don't know bleed through. Okay. Cool. Alright, everything looks good on my side. Now, let me make sure the game boot's good, and then we should be ready to go live. Alright, game's being captured pretty nicely. Good. Alright, we're going to be picking up into the radius back where we did last time. No, it's been a little bit of a minute, but that's okay. Looks like it's capping correctly. Okay, cool. I have hands. Light is turning correctly. Alright. Alright, we're about to hit ready. Alright, that looks good. It should show up in this chat right here. Let me see it. Hell yeah. Okay, that looks good. I like that. Minimal delay. Alright, we're about to transition and cut in. So my actual camera is delayed for some reason. It's working, but it's definitely on a delay. I don't know why. I don't think there's anything else I can do to improve it. I'm using a program Snake recommended to me. Okay, so we're gonna be listening to Blind Mike's Why Are You Laughing? The History of Opie and Anthony. So I know mostly about Opie and Anthony through Carl from Who Are These Podcasts, but I'm always interested in learning more. So we are going to check this out while I play a little bit more Into the Radius. I have no other things to test, so we're about to cut in. I reorganized my OBS setup a little bit, so maybe it'll work better for me in VR at least. Alright, so we're about to fade in. Alright, 7 minutes to start, not at the worst time ever. Hello everyone, good morning, good night, good evening, whatever time it is for you. We're gonna get started into the Radius. I'm gonna have to recheck my quest because I don't remember where I was last time. And then we're gonna either re-up at the station or head right out. I think it's head right out. I think that's what I'm ready to do. So we're gonna get started on this.
We got some dumbass motherfuckers floating around this country.
Alright. Then we're gonna get started with this. Oh, give me one more second. Sorry, I forgot to do this before I went live.
Funny jokes and unfunny jokes come out of the same birth.
You fucking guys are unbelievable.
Why are you laughing?
Evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Why Are You Laughing? A History of Comedy podcast. And today, I'm pleased to introduce to you the history of Opie and Anthony. This is a more
So I just want to show you what I'm working with here because I think it's pretty cool.
Episodes on them. We've done Sex for Sam and the Mayor's Prank and Jocktober and the breakup of Opie and Anthony and Jim Norton as individual episodes. And I always.
Alright, so right now you're seeing my actual VR view right now. I have my OBS here on my wrist. I guess it's technically on my arm, but whenever I'm moving around and playing, I shouldn't be able to see it, which is good because it gets in my way. But then if I just hold it like this, I can actually see chat and everything like that, kind of like on my wrist, like I was talking about in my last gameplay.
We always get comments,
which is good.
And
then if I actually want to hit it, all I have to go is hit that button and then see, and then I can actually interact with it.
And you know, I'm sure old Howard clips get.
I think this is pretty cool.
But with O&A,
and then I can toggle things on and off. So I'm gonna actually toggle back on the Into the Radius view here, and then cut. So now you shouldn't be able to see my overlay. That's only for me, which is good.
Found them because they had people like Patrice O'Neill and Bill Burr.
Before I had it like floating up in the sky and stuff, and it kind of like broke my immersion. But now it's like part of my gear, which I think is pretty cool. It's like right next to my wrist. Like here's my wrist, and then right here, if I rotate it, then there's my OBS. I think that's pretty cool, honestly. So, we're heading back out this way because we are doing... Oops.
If it's not for you, if you like the more in-depth stuff, you can
where's the light on this?
Other stuff down the road. Let me
there
know
it is, okay.
In the comments, because as I was just praising the YouTube algorithm, it helps more people find this show as well. So
we're heading out this way because we're coming out here.
Find us wherever you get podcasts, YouTube.
And then we're gonna head down this way to M1. M1 is Paparazzi.
Become a member.
Wait, I can do that anywhere then.
Bonus content.
Fragment, Seeker, Spawn, Phantom.
You can support the show that way.
So Fragment, Ghost,
go to blindmike.net.
Runner, Spider. Okay, easy.
Linktree, we find all our social media.
And then Radius Treasure, M2. So where's M2?
Patreon, merchandise, all that good stuff. So
I already captured both of those, so I need to come out this way instead, actually, and go to M3, and then capture all that stuff. While I'm doing it, hopefully I can just,
you can go to verygoodshow.org. That's where you can support Craig.
Hey.
Here. There we go.
This is a very good
While
show.
I'm out there, hopefully I can just grab the camera and just quickly snap a picture of them. Because
that's a lot of shows. Yeah, so if we're
that's the
doing
quest, is to capture photos of them.
Every podcast you listen to, particularly in the early days of podcasting.
Okay, so we are going to head out now that way. Nope, no, we're going to head out that way. See? I remembered.
Find a niche and not
what's my carry weight right now?
Direction, dude.
29. I got my big shotgun on there. Got plenty of ammo.
A lot of credit, obviously Legion of Skanks.
Do I have any money?
Hometown, I would say for sure. A lot of these very popular podcasts.
Because this, I know my gas mask is really weak, and I know I'm gonna need it to go actually do the rest of these quests. So hopefully I can spend the rest of my money there and actually go.
But Howard did have a little more of a radio feel.
Hopefully I can spend a bit of my money and
laziness
repair my gas mask.
A great deal to their innovation. They're completely
okay, got a little dizzy there.
And just
was going a little bit too fast.
Jim Norton's ability to be hilarious and riff, and you know, give Opie credit knowing certain comedians to bring on things like that. I would maybe argue that Jim Norton had a lot more to do with that, but we'll get into that.
532 dollars.
Free-flowing style definitely influenced podcasting a great deal, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's start way back at the beginning. Let's travel to Long Island.
547. So what do I need to sell to get it done?
The first clip is before that. This is of Anthony's band.
Yes. Yeah, so Anthony is.
I don't want to sell those.
Parody songs, all kinds of radio stations. He had a band called Rot Gut with his brother Joe Cumia, and he.
I don't think I have anything in this area to sell.
Guy,
so let me check in here.
Joe, and wanted desperately to get out of that life, so he was sending parody songs.
I don't need that many extra mags.
Radio stations. And Opie is one.
They're already full of ammo, aren't they?
Put it on air. So we'll get
this is a completely battle-ready weapon.
This was when the O.J. Simpson trial was about.
Okay, so I can sell garbage.
He was sending this out.
And, I don't really have any garbage.
It was a different time. You're watching visually. Just
okay, I can't use this. Don't have a gun for it. I'll sell that.
Political views don't help this in hindsight. But it is a different time where you can get away with it.
And then I guess I don't need that much gun oil. I'm not even carrying a pistol, am I? No, my pistol's right there. But I'm trying not to carry it to be lighter weight. So yeah. Cool, we'll sell these. And I guess we can sell these and hopefully they'll at least merit me like 1 credit, because I don't need that much. Alright, cool.
Anthony's career could have gone a couple different ways, because you know we talked about the Jerky Boys in a previous episode, and their popularity is really amazing because they essentially went viral before basically the internet existed, you know, for all intents and purposes. So Anthony had that sort of talent where maybe he could have put out like song parody CDs and things like that, but that would have been extremely difficult. It was actually even just what Anthony was doing was extremely difficult, sending demos to radio stations. And he did get on Howard Stern eventually. We played that in one of our previous episodes. Howard Stern versus Opie and Anthony, I believe we played that. But the guy that really took an interest in him was Opie. So Opie gets shit on a lot, and we'll even probably shit on him. But you do ultimately have to give him credit for bringing in certain people. Like, you can't say that Opie was the boss and Opie controlled everything, and then not say that he had something to do with the people that were on the show. Right. So you at least have to give him credit for that.
Okay.
He saw something in Anthony.
So we're like completely broke now.
Feather in Opie's cap is that he
But
invited
it's
brother
better than
Joe
nothing,
to
so
and realized
we need
that
the gas
he had
mask
no
to get the
talent
rest of
at
the money
all.
anyway.
You know,
It's about
Opie did have an
5:22 in the
eye.
morning, so as soon as we
Fun
go out
fact
there,
about
the sun
Rock Gut,
should start rising.
They put it out
And I need to
album,
make sure to go out
and,
that way,
poster
not that way,
from
because
Dead
that way
on Paris
is
has a
to
autographed copy of it, and they're all in blackface.
Is that right?
Yeah,
That's fun.
yeah,
here.
Not necessarily worth noting, but you put that in your history books, folks.
that's right.
So now we are going to WBAB in Long
Alright,
Island.
let's see if I can do this
for the
without
first
spilling
ever
anything.
encounter between Opie and Anthony.
Hey, look at that.
Thanks for checking out the program tonight. And we got another fine show planned for you guys tonight. We got my pals Joe and Anthony from Rock Gut live in the studio. Hey, how you doing, man? Good, man. Just in case
Alright,
people don't
so
know
we're
who
out
you
here.
are. Yeah, well, they are the famous.
And I went through the wrong one, didn't I?
Electric Shock OJ, which you're gonna do live on the show tonight. That's right. And you're gonna do
Huh.
other ditties.
I guess past me was right.
Wacky, kooky stuff, Opie. You know?
I must have said all this
So,
last
years
time I was
later,
playing.
There's an episode where Patrice.
But hey, we all make
Rich
mistakes.
Voss,
Nothing
Bob Kelly are in studio.
easy
And
fix, I just go out that way.
To just rip on Anthony. Opie and Anthony, by the way. But because they have very nervous energy here, it's funny to hear like just Opie introducing him and saying like, for those of you that don't know Anthony, the guy's a construction worker in Long Island. Yeah, we don't know him. But it is
All right,
like,
let's get going.
that's pretty much
Whoa.
anyone has. I don't know if Howard ever made fun of his old.
What was that
radio
noise?
tapes, but I'm sure anyone in radio, you're able to
right,
make
fragment.
fun of that old stuff because you are. There's
Take a
like
picture, take a
formula
picture,
to it.
take a
You think
picture.
you hear there where Anthony is going, yes, hello.
Okay, nice shot.
Trying to cram impressions in there. He's shucking it.
Okay, I got a little bit of health.
And,
I got extra
eating
health. Grab the
fire.
shotgun.
Just try and stay on the radio. So there's like a nervous energy. You wanna accomplish this goal, and
Hold
it's
on.
funny, particularly in the early 90s.
Camera.
you know, in
There's a
the 80s
fragment.
through the 90s. People had
Phantom.
a perception of radio guys that wasn't always true. Like Opie was a nighttime guy in Long Island, but Anthony's perception of him was that he's told the story.
All right,
many
that's
times
two
on air,
immediately.
That when he met Opie and like when they started doing shows together and stuff, Opie invited him over his house, and Anthony pulls up the house and he's like,
Okay, so I needed
"This must
a
be
spawn fragment seeker. So I need a seeker and an actual
Is this a
fragment.
rental?
Okay.
What? How is this? He's a famous radio man. How is this shithole?
All right, we're just gonna roll with the shotgun for a little bit.
Like, I think Anthony thought, like, and this was common back then. Like, hey, if you get a job in radio, you've made it. But they were Opie was probably making $20,000 a year at this time.
Okay,
So
okay.
It is wild how far.
I
their
should
career
have
was
set my
going.
Twitch category so people could
So
know what
we're
I'm
in Long
doing.
Island. Opie
Oh man,
spinning
that's actually
records
kind of
at
heavily
night, and you do hear
guarded.
kind of a
Is there? What is my
traditional
mission here?
radio guy? Like he's kind of doing things the way you're taught in
Mission number
broadcasting
3.
school at Geneseo, you know. Anthony's a little
3
different,
is
and, Anthony was
metastasis,
doing
which is
appearance
find the
on morning
rift.
show there. Like I said, just trying to find any into the business. And they go on to talk a little more about the end of their time in Long
All right, Shotty's ready.
Success. Opie keeps inviting Anthony back, and then he becomes a regular on Opie's. I think it was called the Midnight Attitude, or something like that. Some horrible name. for his
Okay, I see
nighttime
him.
show. The Nighttime Attitude. That was
I think I hear the thing I'm supposed
as
to
they're trying
kill.
get out of Long Island, about their experience.
Oh,
It was after we got the gig and we were going to go to AF that they came to me, knowing now that we have a job together.
Oh,
We're
Seeker.
going to AF. They came to me.
damn
and
it!
said,
I
"We want you
panicked.
to take over Opie's slot, doing the 7 to midnight shift.
Damn
at
it!
the AB.
Damn it! Damn it! Damn it!
Whatever you need, we'll put it in place.
Can I put this here?
I think
I can.
Do well.
I didn't know that. That's
Trying
big.
then to get, which would screw up.
Because then I can just go.
in Boston. I'm sure I
click.
could go there and do great anyway. Well, what happened was they had hired us together, and well, what happened with the AF gig? I don't think we've ever told this. Ron Larry heard just
Shot.
me at the time, and he was gonna give me nights at AF, the same shift I was doing at BAB. Yep. But then I was like, well, Ron, that's cool, and I'm ready to move on.
Nope, hold on.
But I just started working with this new guy, Anthony, and I want you to hear some tapes because I think it's really cool stuff. Because they had
All right,
Afternoon
buddy.
Drive open as well. Yep. So when I sent the tapes, they went, "Oh my God, we'll throw you guys an Afternoon Drive tomorrow."
Better times.
It's somewhere along the way, Opie gained an ego that I don't think he always had, as you hear there. Where, like, the idea that Opie could have just left Anthony in the dust, Anthony could have taken his old job, they each could have been on their own.
You're gonna get fucking killed now, buddy.
Said, no, this Anthony guy has something.
Come on.
And we could both benefit from it. Because you put us on, and after you listen to this tape, listen to that, the chemistry.
Oh, okay, I don't have any shells in here.
Because I think that would better everyone. It would better both of our careers.
Alright, and I'm about to run into the wall here in real life.
So, Opie developed an ego eventually. I think him being the boss of Major Joe contributed to that, as well as some of his own,
Where is it?
issues. But you hear there, like, humble Opie is a decent guy.
Grab out the assault rifle now.
Jim Norton used to always talk about this, how there are
Alright, find my bearings.
And that Opie, when they were loyal to each other,
alright, there we are.
They kind of each understood each other's role.
Okay.
Like Anthony knowing, hey, this is the radio guy.
Health is good, stamina's low.
A little better than I do. And Opie saying, well, this guy is obviously the talent that I'm going to ride to #1 one day. Each knowing each other's roles, I think, greatly benefited them. And somewhere along the way, that was lost. I don't think Anthony's blameless in that, but I do think Opie is probably much more so.
Hell yeah, I'm in a flow state right now.
Douglas.
So, yeah, Dave Douglas is the...
Alright, now where's my objective? I can hear you.
WAAF. And you're going to get a little taste of, like, how...
Are you in here?
What scumbags radio guys are and how they don't know...
Somebody else here? How much ammo do I got?
Filled with guys that desperately wanted to be on radio, yet somehow don't know the business at all. Like, if you walk into a radio station, I don't know if it's still the same today, but certainly back
Alright, it's in there. Good.
Radio was a little more independent.
We're going in. Get tactical
The
marines.
sales guys, producers, everyone wanted to be an on-air personality, and they did whatever job they take, they thought was a foot in the door. And somewhere along the way, they just resigned themselves to the fact that, well, now I'm a program director or whatever. So David
Alright,
Douglas
we're a little
was the guy that
safe.
didn't quite
So what we're gonna do is
understand
we're gonna
radio,
stock that.
and this would have been a disastrous decision.
Grab the
Again,
shotty and
Opie
start
had
deploying
more
some
of an ego.
shells.
Didn't work. Well, the best one after that was Dave Dickless Douglas up there, our first.
Holy shit, I didn't know I could load it
who
this
had
way.
No respect for whatsoever. Had no clue what talent was all about. One day we're getting ready for our show, and I'm getting coffee, and we were only on the job, I don't know, probably less than a month, so we're still getting our quote sea legs and figuring it all out. And
That's
Dave
amazing.
comes into the coffee area as I'm getting ready to get my cup of coffee and start the show with Anthony, and he goes,
All right, I love this now.
I got a question
I
for
just
you." I'm
learned
like, "Yeah,
something.
Dave." He goes,
That's incredible. All right.
Why Anthony? He was ready to divide and conquer right there. Like, why Anthony? Why? Because he was one of these PDs. Already Ant and I had personalities, and we were gonna do a lot.
All right, somebody else is here. Let's go. Ready?
And I think his logic was, no, I was brought in.
Who are
here.
you?
It's a music station. It's known as a music station. It was called the only station that really rocks. So it would go against his whole master plan, which was a lot of music, a lot of stupid interviews with boring musical guests saying
he didn't
nothing.
hire us.
And he didn't hire us. So right there, he was trying to feel me out. If maybe, I don't know. I'm just gonna say, I think maybe just keep me to spin stupid tunes and
get rid of me,
and then not talk as much and get rid of Anthony.
It is hilarious.
There you are.
The two of them and be like, why Anthony? It's like,
Run.
really, that's the conclusion
All
you
right.
came to?
2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and go.
Potentially a problem.
Maybe. Yeah, and Opie was, again, a more traditional radio guy, so probably easier to control.
Ow.
Which is interesting to think about, because if you look at Opie now, or even like at the height of Opie and Anthony, Opie was
Holy
definitely
shit.
the-
Literally 0
You
HP.
know? Opie was the hard.
Look at that. See that little those red circles there?
He could be
Or lack of
difficult to deal with.
red circles? That's my
But
HP.
Early Opie, and that's where I go back to this ego thing, is like early Opie kind of understood. He's like, hey, I'm spinning records. I'm a radio guy. Like, he knew what he was. Before he had made it, he didn't have this delusion. I think what you see with a lot of guys.
All right, I think I'm
is a certain
safe
amount
now.
of success. They're not necessarily ready for it. Like we talked about with
My
Stuttering
dearest
John. They
babushka,
don't
it's
know-
your
they
granddaughter
don't give
Lucy. I
credit to how they
enjoy
got
school,
there.
especially reading and
I
drawing.
think Anthony
After
credits
school, I usually go
Opie
for a walk or play
entirely
sports.
for
Life
getting
is
into
good,
radio.
but I miss
I
your
don't think
raspberry
Opie
jam
credits
tea.
enough for
Please come visit
Anthony
us.
enough for the success that they
for New Year's.
And I think that could be a mistake when you allow your ego to get that big.
No, those
Some
are for
people right
emergency
about it,
only.
You know, like Howard virtually just needed Howard. You know,
I should still have
probably could have
these.
found someone else to do.
These
the
are a
Rod
sweet
roll.
artifact I have called
Obviously
Regen,
replaced Jackie
where
as
when I'm
one of the
holding and
veterans,
channeling it,
right?
it heals my
Already.
health.
You know, someone else could have done Gary's job or Fred's. They're not saying they were bad at their job by any means. They were all very, very, very talented. But Howard was the show, where really, and you can even look at what Anthony's doing now, neither guy was the show. Jim Norton wasn't the show.
They do have a durability, though. It's not just an infinite use. Yeah, I almost burnt that out.
Magic. It's crazy. So we'll get more into that. But for now, Opie and Anthony are in
I'm
Boston.
keeping that because I
Long
keep
Island
like
and
all
Boston.
notes.
And Boston is the
I
first
burnt
place
some.
they really started to have success.
Oops, I heard that I grabbed
They
that on the way
thrived
out.
in the afternoons there. They started doing stuff on like, you know, local like public access TV, where they were being like a little more creative and having fun.
Okay, there we go.
Now a lot of the stuff was douchey, traditional radio stuff
Ooh,
that they became famous
Some
for
sunflower
completely
seeds.
mocking, which we'll get to in a minute. But I think that's where we're going now, is some of their hijinks on WAAF.
Yeah, this is the 100 grand one.
Yeah. So this gives you a little
All right,
example.
I gotta get the timing on that.
What Opie and Anthony were doing, like in the '90s, in the history of
Okay.
Opie and Anthony. Like I find this stuff interesting, so I'm mentioning it on this episode. But if you're doing a full listen, a deep dive into Opie and Anthony, for content you'll actually enjoy, you could probably skip the '90s because it was a lot of like corny radio stuff.
Hang
I
on,
find
let
it
me
interesting to
do
listen
this.
to, just because I'm a radio nerd, but it is a lot of stuff like this.
Hello, AF. You're the 106th caller. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Hello, AF.
Hi.
Hi, who's this?
Hey, it's Craig from Waltham.
Hey, Craig, guess what?
Oh, did I win?
You are the 107th caller.
No way! Damn it, I won! I won! What? No way, you're kidding, right?
107th.
Oh, wow!
107th caller. Congratulations.
100 grand! Oh, my God!
You just won 100 grand, bro.
Oh, Jesus, you know what I'm going to do with that?
What are you going to do with the 100
Oh,
grand?
man, the first thing, I have this old... Oh, I cannot... Jeez, I got to...
Calm down. Calm yourself.
I am the winner.
These are a terrible
I'm the
snack,
winner.
honestly.
Well, what are you going to do with 100 grand, bro?
I got this. Oh man, I got this box for a truck. I've got to get a new one.
All right, last one.
Oh, that. Oh.
Wait, dude. How are you going to do that with the candy bar?
What?
How are you going to do that with a candy bar? We just gave you a 100 grand candy bar.
What do you mean?
We gave away 100 grand.
No.
It's a candy bar, bro. Congratulations.
What?
You just won a candy bar.
Hey, what the? You've been. I've been listening to fucking radio for like 3 hours, man. You said 100 grand.
Yeah, 100 grand. We gave you a candy bar. Congratulations, buddy boy.
Oh, you guys are a bunch of douchebags. Hey.
Congratulations, man. Uh-oh.
Wow, that's it. One shotgun shell.
It's very subtle. It might take a trained ear. I don't know if you guys picked up on it. That was a fake call. I don't know if you were able to tell from that guy's acting chops.
It sure was. It was one of the producers I found out.
Yes, yeah. Anthony's talked about it over the years, and that was not real at the time. At the time, if you're just driving around, you don't know any better. I guess you're like, oh,
Imagine
shit,
being
that's hilarious.
left-handed. It'd be a
But
lot
yeah,
easier
there
with
is a lot of
shotgun.
stuff they did that they would come to make fun of. You know, bra bombings and
Whatever, maybe not.
You know, drop a chicken off the top of the AAF building and all kinds of stuff. And they got
What the
famous
hell
for
just
mocking
happened
radio
there?
shows for that. And here's what I think separated.
I just
Opie and
injected
Anthony
every
from
round in my
Stern
shotgun.
Is years later they would look back at these tapes and mock them. Like,
So I know the
have a
second
day
version of this
October
game
where
is
they
out in
analyzed
early
themselves
access.
and just got douche chills and completely.
And I
ripped
really
themselves
would
apart.
like to play
And I
it.
think
It's
that speaks to the
$40, so I gotta buy it
honesty of
after
the
my
Opie and
trip to
Anthony show
DabbleCon.
versus Howard Stern, where Howard, and again, maybe not so much in his heyday, but now you see it very clearly, where anything that Howard's embarrassed of, he doesn't like that he did, for whatever reason, whether it's not PC now or it's not the image he wants to create.
Oh, that's
or
the
he
problem.
doesn't like the
See?
people involved. He
Okay,
wants them
I get
wiped
it.
off the archives. They just don't exist anymore. Howard has a full channel that was supposed to be like the archives, like all old Howard Stern tapes, and now there's people like you just won't hear Artie Lang on there, which is crazy.
Sorry.
And a lot of that has to do with certain lawsuits that we filed against them as well. But
Yeah, to their
for another
credit,
thing.
that $100,000 bit didn't start out as
Hey.
a plant. It was forced upon them because of what would have happened.
Oh, that they would have been sued.
Too
it
easy.
was a last minute thing.
Whoa! How'd you live through that?
We're stopping this now.
Boy.
Whoa! Why are you living?
Yeah. So, well, let's get to what's next. Is it them mocking themselves?
Child
The
abuse.
slugs
this
were
is
a
what I'm
lot better
talking
for
about,
me,
where,
it seems.
They would have Sam pull clips of them. Usually, it's the great Sam Roberts, now of Jim Norton and Sam Roberts, was a producer for them, an intern, then a producer for them, and he would find their old clips, break them down, and it would sound a little something like this.
Oh, I don't have that part, unfortunately. Okay, but it's a whole list of you might be a child of the 80s. Child of the 80s? A lot of us grew up in the 80s. That's true. That was... That's
Why are you laughing at that, Sam?
A lot of us grew up in the 80s. You said us. A lot of us grew up in the 80s. A lot of you grew up in the 80s. Not a lot of us.
God. I was officially a teenager in the 80s.
You were grown up.
I was officially a teenager. in the
Damn,
80s.
there's three objectives there.
The bit is not were you. It's were you a child of the '80s,
Were you classified
2,
in
3,
the US
and 4.
government
All
classified
right,
you
let's
as
2, 3, and
adult?
4.
which you most certainly were not.
So like that's when Opie and Anthony really found themselves, is when they were like, we have to be honest. Now, what's weird about that is Opie and Anthony felt like the most
So I
honest
need to go
show
here.
until one day you realized like,
So I need to
these
go here
guys hate
first.
each other the whole time.
Just about.
All the way up that way.
That's the crazy I don't even know if you can call it hypocrisy, because they would
Alright,
kind of
time to switch
acknowledge
weapons
they didn't
here.
like each other, but it would always be like, yeah, for a period of time we didn't like each other, but now it's since come out viscerally between the two of them,
Yeah.
that
Silencer's
basically from
kind of
the year
low.
2000 on, more or less, they were
Seeker.
not on good terms. So it was really only like 6 years into the show that
Did
they were,
I aggravate you?
they could actually call each other friends. But they said for that time they really were friends. They were working on the show together, and as the story goes, they were both in miserable relationships and kind of poured all their
Got
efforts
your
into their
ass.
work, which contributed to their success.
So all I need left
Now,
is
on
what?
WAAF, that's where their first firing was. It's interesting. I did find a piece of audio, by the way, where Opie is talking about how Anthony, if they got fired from WAAF for the mayor's
Phantom. What? I thought I got a
Opie's talking about
phantom.
how Anthony could have actually saved his job. He's like, technically speaking, if Anthony was a backstabber, he could have been like,
What?
that was Opie's idea. 'cause
I thought I
Anthony
got a
had nothing to
phantom
do
right
with
over
it.
there.
Planned by Opie.
Ugh.
And Anthony just
It
went
must not
along
have
with
been
it.
a good
It wasn't
shot.
Anthony's idea, and Anthony could have gone to management and been like,
Alright.
yeah, that wasn't me. So give me the show, please. Fire Opie if you want. But what I found interesting about that is Opie's story was always that they got fired from WAAF on purpose. That story would indicate that that's not true. Why would Anthony go to management and rat on Opie if they had another job? So I don't believe that that's true. I think they were actually very nervous that they got fired.
I don't care about whatever artifact
But
is out
lucked
here.
because of the nature of radio back then. You might see, I think it probably depends a little on the presidential election, but it feels like maybe we're
I assume we can
swinging
see
in that
these
way
little
now,
ribbons
where
floating here.
corporations are
These are some sort of
realizing, like,
radiation
edgier
that is very
comedy
bad for
will
me.
make them more money, so they're more willing to do it. There's rumors of Kill Tony getting a massive Netflix.
That was a
deal,
headshot. That was
obviously Rogan
nice.
and Spotify and the success that Shane Gillis is having and all of that. That was true of radio in the 90s, in large part because of Howard Stern. If you made a massive splash, getting
That right
fired
over
for something
there
crazy,
is
like saying your
a
Mary's dead on April
like a
Fool's
safe
Day,
house.
that could get you another job. That could actually launch your salary into the stratosphere because people know your name and want to hear what you're going to say next. And then a lot of things in radio transpired that made that not the case. A lot of individual things, but basically fear as a whole. The radio industry got more scared than maybe any other industry by political correctness. But
He
back
must
in the
have a
day,
shotgun. He's
like
running
I said, we're not getting into
real
the
quick.
Mayor's prank specifically because we did a full episode on it. But that is what launched them to WNEW in New York.
I was right.
NEW was like a classic rock station. They were very well known, but it was kind of
Alright, Phantom.
It was like on the way out, and Opie and Anthony saw an opportunity to turn that into a talk station. So they brought some elements from their show on WAAF, but also were able to evolve and change into a talk show. So where are we now?
Wow.
Ow, no!
Yeah, so this is something that's why I mentioned something they brought from WAAF. I have always questioned how real this was. I'd like to hear, guys, in the comments. I'd like to hear some people, maybe a little older than me.
I stood in the radiation. It almost
driving
killed
around
me.
this time. But what WoW is, it's Whip 'em Out Wednesday, and it was supposed to be if you had a WoW.
Damn, that
sticker
was
on your
really
phone,
unfortunate.
Women would flash you and take their tops off, just on the road. In the middle of a Wednesday, I guess. That was the premise of the bit.
Paparazzi
And,
is
it was very
definitely
popular.
done. I know it's
So we used to have
done.
You still see these stickers.
There's a
today.
fragment
People
out
still
that
post
way. Hopefully I can avoid
Maybe we'll come
him.
back one day, yeah.
You know, just to get involved with WoW, you just got to get a WoW in your car and watch. This thing will take on a life of its own. Yeah. Simple concept: you put a WoW bumper sticker or a homemade
Okay,
WoW in
made
your
it
car.
through,
And the
made it
ladies, if
through.
they feel like it, we'll show you their boobs on the way home from wherever you're coming from. Works like
There's a
car
fragment over there. I don't
every
like him.
single Wednesday. Yeah.
Is that possible? Did that really happen?
I need to
That
increase
seems
the
like
turn
a far
speed. That's
gone
why I
time
manually
if that was
manually
actually
turn instead of
happening. I understand
turning
the
with a
radio is
controller.
theater of the mind, but they acted like it was actually happening out there. People would call in and all kinds of hijinks. So I've always wondered if that was another fake element of the program, but they carried that on for many years. Like that went well into the XM days. Wow.
I feel like that happened maybe once or twice. Not to each person that had the sticker.
Yeah, I imagine it was pretty rare.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But now we're moving on to some of the funnest.
there's a
content
phantom
in
out there. I can
Divorce.
see him,
Yeah, so this it
as
both
well as a
helped and
fragment,
hurt the
two
show
fragments,
in a
two
lot of
fa-
ways.
Damn, there's a lot of enemies
I
out
think
here.
When the show started to get more real, and they're talking about their personal lives, like even if you go back and listen to the first day on WNAW, Opie and Anthony are still spinning records.
There's
At a certain
one.
point, they just started like, you know,
Oh, he
disobeying
fucking
orders,
stalked
talking
me. Are you
more and
kidding
more,
me?
To the point that eventually it was just a talk show. They just dropped the music completely. They were on from 2 to 7 in the afternoons in New York and just talking. And eventually grew to #1 in New York in the afternoons, in their demographic.
I randomly found this in my recommended.
Younger.
Hey,
audience
Switch
that,
Animates.
got
Sorry
this,
to ignore
so
your
they were
message.
also on CBS
Thanks for
News.
hopping in. My name's Annie. I'm a 29-year-old trans woman. I like to just play games and stuff. And I've recently started to just stream them because, I mean, if I'm gonna play them, I might as well have this. If people want to hop in, they can, which I think is pretty cool. And I can also like highlight your chat here. So thanks for hopping in, Switch Animates. What is that icon? Can't quite tell. It looks like a helmet with a nurse hat on it, but I don't know.
Lord stuff I was never really into. I was actually into the more real moments, like Anthony talking about his divorce.
Oh, are you still paying her out?
Skibbity, hi, I'm Tashi. Thanks for hopping in.
Until when?
I was married 9 years. I'll be paying 9 years.
How long ago was this?
2000.
Alright, how much ammo do I got left in here? 17. My silencer's still okay.
Almost there. Getting close. The year goes by and I go, another year. Tick tock, tick off. But
if she gets married, though, you don't have to pay anymore, right?
oh,
Okay.
no, I do.
Which way am I
Even if
headed?
she gets married?
Even if
Straight
she
ahead
gets married.
still?
Dude, I had to fight to get this out
No,
of it.
right through
They
there.
wanted to
Oh,
write
I'm
into
heading
the
in
deal
there.
That if she died, I still had to pay her heirs and her estate, and if she had kids, I had to pay
I can't
the
tell,
children.
but yes, it
If
looks
she
like I have to head in
died,
here.
I got that taken out. I don't know how.
It was kind of.
Do you have Into the Radius too? No, not yet. Thank you for asking. It's $40, and I am trying to go to a comedy show over in Rochester, New York, August 16th, 17th, and the 18th. I already have everything basically booked out, so I have essentially no funds at the moment. So I'm just trying to squeeze every penny I can. I will buy it as soon as I can. But before I do buy it, I definitely want to finish Half-Life Alyx, because I bought that when it was on sale, and now there's no reason to not finish it. So I really enjoy the game. So my whole point, I guess, is I want to finish the game before I buy a new game.
Now, if you listen to Opie and Anthony, a problem it did spark in their relationship is Opie and his long-time
Alright, that fragment's pretty much gone.
Anthony and his then wife were all friendly, and they would hang out together. And then when Anthony and his wife broke
What was
up,
that?
I guess it caused strife in the Opie
fragment. Or spawn, I mean.
Mad at Anthony and didn't like Anthony. It's very weird that Opie allowed that to affect Opie and Anthony's relationship, but I guess that's just life sometimes. It's the way things work out. And they started to like really hate each other.
That's a very good game. Half-Life Alyx? Is that what you're talking about? I really do enjoy Half-Life Alyx. It's I think I'm on the probably third or fourth mission. I can't remember exactly where I left off.
Maybe the most non-confrontational human being I've ever observed.
On Earth.
We've done an bonus episode.
I've already played a good portion of it. I know about a lot about the Half-Life lore. Although it's the first Half-Life game I've actually played on my own.
He doesn't even like when it's happening near him, when it doesn't involve him.
Yeah, during that argument, he just basically got in the fetal position at his microphone.
He was uncomfortable. Opie, on the other hand, might be the most confrontational guy on the planet.
Yeah.
Everything. If he was in the
So what brings you guys in here? Is it just because recommended? I mean, I appreciate that in the YouTube algorithm. It's nice to have people in here that are interested in the game that I'm playing and things like that. I can hear the static over here, so I need to make sure. Okay, it doesn't look like there's any more enemies approaching me, so now I can switch tactics. So
well, really, the man we should credit is one Andrew Dice Clay.
We need to head
Stern, hey, you should bring my buddy
that way.
Dice.
Okay, there is a pulsar there, and the lightning is right there.
On the phone, where Dice just had him tell some story about getting pissed on or something like that. And then the next time Dice was in studio, he brought...
I can't climb on this rock,
so we'll have a little taste of that here.
so I guess I'm gonna go the long way, because I can't get through the lightning. I got it when Half-Life 2... I got Half-Life 2 when it came out. Oh, okay, gotcha. So... Are you familiar with the YouTuber Pyro Cynical? He, like a couple months ago, released a video just simply called Half-Life 3 that was like 4 hours long, and it was recommended to me. And, I was really interested in why it was recommended to me. Like, I've always been a fan of the Half-Life series and adjacent to it. I just have never played it. So, when I get the notification from Pyrocynical, I'm like, I might as well try this. I wonder what he's talking about. Is it the fact that the game is never going to come out? Or is it something like theoretical? Is the Half-Life 3 leaks? Like, I don't know. The video that was like 4 hours long. So no matter what, I want to give it a shot. So I start watching it, and I'm like, this is 4 hours long. There's no way I'm gonna watch this whole thing. And before I know it, I'm already like 3 hours into the video. And the video actually covers a Half-Life fan game called Entropy Zero and the sequel Entropy Zero 2, where you play as a Combine who hasn't lost all of his humanity yet, and
that would later be on the show.
It's a sort of sideline game to the main games. Where is this?
You know?
Right.
You can't get away with corniness or being phony. Now again,
there it is.
Certain stuff wasn't brought up on air about their relationship. But
NGB0, you play as a Combine who hasn't lost all of his sanity, named Bad Cop. And Bad Cop is trying to find his daughter, which is how the Combine kind of exploit him.
History books will tell you that Jim and Anthony were the show became Jim and Anthony, and they were friends, and they should have left.
And so something I've noticed, with the fans of the series, and something I also kind of like respect, is that ooh, hold on.
Undoubted. I mean, I think we have
my desktop plus is not agreeing with me at the moment. Give me a second.
Show Opie and Anthony were, where there was honesty, there was ball busting. You look at what Jim and Sam are now, they're not really interested in that kind of stuff. And maybe that's just the time that they're broadcasting.
Okay, I guess I won't open the menu. I don't have to highlight the chat since they're still on my screen. Anyway, something I've noticed about the Half-Life fan games is nobody really wants to like say, oh, I'm here, this is Half-Life 3 and this is what I think it's going to be like. Because, just like Valve, nobody wants to do it and then get criticized for fucking it up. I can't imagine having that much pressure on a project that you're working on. It sounds way too stressful.
Iraq fat, or someone call Voss dumb, or whatever the case may be, you know?
Exactly. But I think there's another clip from Norton.
Okay.
Weird, but good.
Oh yeah, this is where you do hear Opie like take an interest in.
I like Jim Norton, man. Thank you. You like him, right? Yeah, he's hilarious.
Okay, I can't go that way at all.
But he's hilarious. You know, well, he's got a lot of problems. Right? He's got a lot of issues.
What VR are you on? Thank you for asking. This is the Oculus Quest Pro, or the Meta Quest Pro. I don't know. The Meta Oculus Quest Pro. There you go. The reason I got the Pro instead of the 2 or the 3, which are cheaper, is because it has the full face tracking options. So in case I decide to play like VR chat or VR or Poker Stars VR, whatever the poker game is, I can use the face tracking and actually like, you know, poker face and all that sort of stuff. So I'm using the Pro.
Proclivities?
Depravity.
Yeah, depravity.
Complete depravity. Where Jim Norton was talking about
sheesh.
Trans women,
okay, this is not good.
He was so open sexually long before it was accepted in the mainstream. Like, I mean, he was talking.
Okay, it's also starting to get dark.
Talking about this stuff in 2000. So yeah, like literally before it was cool.
Oh no, I lost my
So Jim actually is a pioneer in a lot of that stuff. And
oh, there they are. Okay.
That Opie and Anthony's audience
I don't want to pull a Haby 147 and lose my lures and die because of it.
Become more open because of it. It's similar to what Ron Bennington would always say about Fez. Right. Is like, hey, we had a male demographic, but they would hear Fez when Fez was funny, and be like, hey, I like this guy. And it would kind of open people's minds in a weird way.
Right around this corner, huh?
Next we have the Voyeur Bus.
Yeah, so this is what really cemented Norton as part of the crew.
Come on.
Actually, this is a weird one, because it was Jim Norton and Lewis Black. Yeah, so the Voyeur Bus, it's actually, I didn't realize this till I was looking for this clip.
That's nice because you don't need a 7K PC tower or a 999 VR with a 60K VR. Well, I mean, you are right, but that's exactly what I have right now. I have a $1,000 VR headset because that's basically what the Pro cost. And then I don't need the 60K or the $60 face tracker, but I do need a. My PC is almost $2,000, so that's why the game itself looks so good and runs, even though I'm running all this stuff. Like, I'm playing a video by Blind Mike. Oh, I should talk about what I'm listening to. This is a comedy podcast, or a comedy review podcast, or whatever. The host is Blind Mike and Craig, and they just do like a history of comedy and like a diagnosis of why things were funny or whatever. So the thing I'm listening to right now is Opie and Anthony, the radio stars, and kind of their origin stories. But to go back to your message, yes, I do have basically a $2,000 computer and a $1,000 headset. So I don't know whether that's to or against your points.
I don't mean you. I mean a police department gag.
I don't know, man. I think the cops that are on our side are talking to the cops that are being told to do something about it. We've got a woman with a very official-looking vest on who might be controlling the situation, so to speak. Meanwhile, you got the other cops who are hanging out.
What is this?
Pictures.
Yeah, so it's a weird situation where, like, some of the cops...
Oh, it's a new regen. Okay.
It's interesting to go back and listen to, because they had essentially a police escort for part of the day. And then I guess once Mayor Giuliani...
So, where are you from, Himtashi? What brings you to my stream this... For me, it's like 11:30 at night. So, what brings you here?
What it did is cement Jim Norton as part of the crew. He was arrested. The funniest thing to me is Louis Black getting arrested, because anytime he would go back on the show years later, he'd think, I wasn't one of you guys. Why did that happen to me? But all right.
I think I made it out.
The infamous baby bird.
Yeah, so
I see an enemy way over there. I don't know if you can see it, but there's enemies there on the horizon. It looks like there's several fragments heading towards me. I must have pinged them with my light.
And he was there for this. It was Rogan, Bill Burr, a bunch of
recommended, and I like it. Well, oh, Into the Radius 1. Ah, gotcha. Well, that's true. I haven't technically beat the game yet. I think I still have one more story quest. I don't know how many story quests there are total, so I actually don't know where I am technically in the air quotes story.
We get much more in depth about it.
I also don't know where this fragment is that's chasing me now. You should be ahead somewhere over that way. Let me turn this on.
But then took 2 years off, 2.5 years, because
there you are.
CBS Radio.
That's a Phantom.
Didn't want them to compete with Howard.
But, you know,
they would beat Howard necessarily.
I beat the game 7 times. Yeah, this is basically the reason I wanted the VR headset, is this game right here. I really, really love this game. It's, I have a shit ton of other stuff that I play. If you check out my channel, you can see some of the stuff I play. I also have a video game review podcast where I kind of just like go to things that are new or things that I haven't played in a long time and I want to talk about. The most recent thing I talked about was Prey from 2017.
So imagine how few people were listening to Opie and Anthony. Also, O&A were on a
okay, I know there's enemies that way, but I'm not worried about them right this second, I guess.
You had to pay extra to get Opie and Anthony at first. So virtually no one was listening.
I gotta head that way.
And so they
2, 3, and 4 are over there.
And that's where they continued doing these shocking and outrageous things, and the baby bird thing was one of them. So let's
2, 3,
just to set it up for everybody at home.
and
It's
4.
the eggnog
Gotcha.
contest. We got puke buckets all over the studio. We got tons of eggnog. These guys will do a double shot of eggnog.
And then I
every
can
single
just
minute
book
until
it
they
that
puke.
way
They puke,
towards the
they're
exit.
out until one guy is standing. And they will be doing it through commercial break.
5 bullets.
Yeah. So they're puking into each other's mouths. There's a very gross video from the great Pat from Munaki. Rest in peace. But yeah, like I said,
I gotta go. It's 1 a.m. right now. Well, thank you so much, Mtashi. If you want to drop a like, you can. You know, I play this game every once in a while. Otherwise, thank you so much for hopping in. It was nice talking to you.
There are a bunch of things that happened. And it might be one of these clips coming up, but there are also things that happen in radio in general. The one that always gets pointed out is like hold your Wii for a Wii, where in order to win a Nintendo Wii, these people had to drink X amount of water.
I hate this building up here, I really do.
And so a lot of these bits, the kibosh was completely put on them. Like Craig mentioned earlier, that management stepped in and said, you're not doing the $100,000 thing.
Oh, that's not good.
Basically every, if it involved anything physical or potentially financial, whatever,
can I get up?
Lawyers would put an end to it immediately in radio. It was just not going to happen. Radio became one of the most scared industries out there, and definitely the most scared industry in all of entertainment. So Opie and Anthony kind of started to evolve, and that's when I began to really like the show. But I think this might be another catalyst that we're about to hear for why they changed.
This is interviews.
Oh no, you know what? I'm wrong. This is a part of the show I did like.
I love
where,
that.
where they for a long time would have obscure people on the show. Like they had a guy he had the world record for whistling, and there was a world-renowned toothpick artist that they had on, and they would just completely fuck with these guys. And it was, by today's standards, it was bullying.
That wasn't good.
It was funny. It was funny to have people on that any other radio show they would have been treated with this fake importance. And Opie and Anthony just completely pulled the curtain back and undressed that and let the audience in on exactly what they were doing. And it was just fun for the audience. It was never fun for the individual, I'm sure, but it was always fun for the audience. So I think the interview that we have as an example of that was
I fully expect to die here.
Even if you call it bullying, absolutely deserved to be goofed with. This is a guy who wrote a book about vocabulary.
Yeah, Daniel Maurer.
And it was exclusively puns. It was like like guy magazines you could read on the toilet that was called shitterature. Like that's the level of humor we were dealing with. So Opie and Anthony just liked mocking this guy and having him on.
And doing something to his book while fucking.
Yeah.
Okay, that's already loaded. Good to know.
A pseudonym is, like McLovin, it's your pseudonym that refers, guys never call each other by their real names, so,
No.
Yeah, that's true.
The sound you hear, folks, is Opie ripping the book.
Pages right out of it.
Just ripping pages out of it.
Alright, we're gonna pussy save here.
Opie did bring, and you can call it sophomoric or whatever, but there is an element to the Opie and Anthony show that was crucial to Opie because he lived. All he had was cringe humor. So you could say that he wasn't as well versed.
Alright, here we go.
as Norton and Anthony, that's for sure. But like he was able to bring an element to the show that was needed for it to be as legendary as it was.
Yeah, that's true.
You gotta have a pseudonym, you also have a brutonym, like Abraham Drinkin, who makes a inebriation proclamation. Four horrors and
Better than the real one.
Who's up here?
What is your
I go by Danimal.
Danimal.
Ah!
I also had a career as a competitive eater, and I was referred to as the fly, because I was on food like a fly.
They call me that way if I'm gonna eat some shit in my mouth.
Alright, disconnected my charging cable, no big deal.
So that's actually, I didn't realize this when I clipped it, but that might be the perfect Opie and Anthony clip, where you hear Jim and Anthony actually making jokes, and Opie destroying the guy's book in the back.
Guy's book, you're right. It might be the perfect clip.
It is like a perfect synopsis of what they all brought to the table. But like that's what I love them for was.
Ooh, my sock almost came off there.
There were a lot of morning shows that were like it was like fake guy stuff.
Yeah.
And again, you could argue that that's what Opie and Anthony were when they were on AAF, where like they would have had that guy on and been like, oh, what's your brutonym, man? And like actually entertained this, and it would have been all phony. Opie and Anthony did it in a way where like the audience was completely in on it, and they were just fucking this guy. I believe Opie ended up pissing on this guy's book on the end.
Can you imagine writing that like for real?
That's the thing, and but they get the guy to the point where he's kind of shitting on it, and so you're like they exposed the phoniness of people. We'll also hear some other phoniness they exposed to radio, but like that's I think the value of what that show was. People,
Oh no!
There's a tainted slant on it now, especially with like what Anthony's Twitter is.
I wanted that loot crate.
Like there are people that will just reduce the Opie and Anthony show to like racist horseshit.
You heard it kind of creep in there a little.
It made its way in, sure. But I do think they were able to call out hypocrisy and phoniness.
Who's shooting?
That was maybe too subtle for a lot of people, because a lot of people didn't catch it. They listened to this show. So.
Next we have Jesse the Body Ventura.
So this is another element of their interviews, and I think something specifically Jim brought to the table, where again he wouldn't let shit fly. Now you can argue.
Fuck you.
Jesse Ventura's point or Jim Norton's point here with hindsight, but the main thing is that Jesse, very big guy, out physical Norton and intimidate him into shutting up about this argument they're having about.
Oh, he scared me. That's for sure.
Conspiracy theories, and Norton doesn't back down.
This wasn't the Chris Kyle's wife one?
A lot of different stuff comes up, but specifically they're talking about 9/11.
I'm not yelling at you. I'm just yelling about your point. You accused us of something, so it's not fair. Sure you did. You guys are just full of shit. You're a warmonger.
Okay.
It's like that's not the truth.
Yeah.
Yes.
I stand corrected.
Thank you.
You're a great American.
Well, I'm not saying I'm a great American, but I'm not a warmonger.
When your country called, you were there.
Hey, I've never been in the military, so you're brave. I'm a coward. I have no right. We got it. Stop.
Did I say that?
Yes, you did through implication. We all speak the span of the commonality of language, so you can't say that I say that when you say something. You did it to me. You said I don't believe in the Constitution.
Bye, guys.
I guess.
Governor.
You always just sulk and walk away. Why?
No,
you
I'm
put
not.
words in my
Hey,
mouth.
there's a fucking guy here telling me I got a schedule, asshole.
You're using dirty language, asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Bye, tough guy.
Thanks for your service.
You're welcome. Thanks for touching me with your fucking stupid riff-raff fucking Rocky Horror hairdo. You're bigger than me and stronger than me, so what? I don't give a shit. You want to beat me up? Go ahead. I'm not going to fight a guy like you. That means nothing to me. I argued with you. You put words in my mouth, and you didn't like when I did it to you. You put words in my mouth saying I didn't believe in the Constitution, and that's bullshit. It's not true. I don't agree with abusing it.
Thank you for your service.
Oh, you're welcome. You're a bigger patriot than me. Godspeed. Fuck out of here.
Isn't there another one where he pops in after the Chris Kyle thing and he just goes, I won? Because they were giving him shit for going after her?
Oh, I don't know. I've never seen that. But I don't know if you can hear it in that clip, but Opie whispers to Sam or whoever's filming, like, closer, closer. So again, you hear Opie like loving confrontation, which is an important factor of that show. Because like Norton would also have incidents like that. Like another famous one was Paris Hilton.
All right, one more try. Here we go.
Paris Hilton just comes in with the worst attitude. I know she's had like a renaissance here the last few years, but she was historically one of the worst people to say.
Oh, killed myself.
She came in with just a terrible guest, and Norton called it out and mocked her for it. So that's something they were very good at too. Now they were also
That's not
very
good.
mean to certain
You're not supposed to
celebs.
kill yourself.
Just have them on, mock.
Coof would be so disappointed in me right now.
From Laverne and Shirley, they had her on Has-Been Corner and just mocked her and hung up on her.
If it was a phoner, they were fucking with whoever was on the other end of it.
Very often they would get hung up on. Another one of my favorite, but like sometimes it would result in them liking the person. Like the Joe Piscopo trilogy is one of the greatest in Opie and Anthony history. We might have to do a bonus episode on that someday, where Anthony comes in one day and sees Joe Piscopo's, I believe it was a Showtime special, and it was a disaster. And they ripped it apart for basically the entire show. And then Joe Piscopo calls in, and they fuck with him on the phone and play some of the games they did where they were just playing sounders and Piscopo's responding to him and shit like that. But then Piscopo comes in and he wins them over. And they're like, he's a nice guy.
I really have to use the restroom.
As it all often goes.
As it does, yeah, like they fucked with Scott Shannon for years, and eventually had a redemption where they were Team Scott, and they had him on, and were basically like fuck Todd, which was fun. So a lot of that stuff I really enjoyed more than the more outrageous stuff over the years was the stuff that genuinely felt real. Like that was a real confrontation you heard between Norton and Jesse there, and like that's to me what defines the Opie and Anthony show.
Also, for a while, the homeless Charlie incident.
Yeah,
that hurt.
That's a gift and a curse, in my opinion, because to me, this is kind of where they stopped trying.
Yeah.
Where they stopped, you know, like they stopped looking for attention as much, and they were like, "Hey, you know what? Let's just shoot the shit. Let's have our
I'm just trying to
friends on.
shoot down there.
We can get guests in. We'll have them, and you know, generally speaking, we'll play nice." But that's the part of the Opie and Anthony show that I like because it led to real conversations. So for better or worse, here's Homeless Charlie.
Tell you what, what's that George Bush bitch, Rice? Condoleezza Rice?
Condoleezza Rice.
Yeah. I love the fuck that bitch, dude. She's a fucking man.
Yeah.
I'll fuck that bitch.
I just imagine the horror in Condoleezza Rice's face when she realizes as you were just like holding her down and fucking her.
Punch her all in the fucking face. Shut up, bitch.
That's exactly what I meant.
You know, fuck and George Bush.
The game is difficult for that. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah. She needs a man.
She needs a man.
So Homeless Charlie was exactly that. He was a homeless guy that was crazy and would come in and talk shit. And they found him funny, so they would just let him go off. Now, the idea that a homeless man threatening the Secretary of State or the First Lady or the Queen, he would go on, whatever. Like, I don't see why that has any impact on it.
Alright, I'm making bad decisions because I have to use the bathroom. So, we're going to hit a bathroom break now.
And it started a weird precedent where Opie and Anthony were suspended by XM, but they were on regular radio at the time. This is a part of the history I forgot to mention. Around 2006, Opie and Anthony were picked back up by CBS Radio to take Howard Stern's old spot. So Opie and Anthony are on XM at the time, and Howard's original replacement was Adam Carolla on the West Coast, and on the East Coast, believe it or not, it was David Lee Roth. No, there's not a radio guy by the same name. It's the David Lee Roth you're thinking of. And it was a disaster. It was horrible. And it didn't last very long. So after that horrendous showing of David Lee Roth, CBS Radio said, how do we get some of Howard's audience back? How do we redeem ourselves here? And they were like, fuck. I guess we have to bring back Opie and Anthony. O&A were under contract with XM at the time, so they came up with an innovative solution and did the first 3 hours on both, then walked to a different building to just do XM. It was very weird. A lot of people would say it didn't really work. It lasted 3 years, and O&A were not. It was weird because they were competing against themselves, and when they would just do XM, you could hear what the show could be without the language policing and that kind of stuff. So it was an odd experiment. I guess it didn't totally work out. But in the middle of it, that Homeless Charlie thing happens, and CBS is the one that keeps Opie and Anthony on the air, which is strange. So they don't get fired, but it seems like they kind of got to the point in their career where they're like, why do we keep doing this? Why do we keep possibly costing ourselves millions of dollars a year? And they just kind of settled down. And O&A stopped working on shit creatively together. It was kind of just producers bringing in topics as opposed to Opie and Anthony. Like, Anthony didn't do any bits or song parodies or anything anymore. They didn't have crazy stunts like that anymore, and it was kind of, you know, a more relaxed show, which is actually the version of the show that I like.
But it all comes down to the grape incident.
Yeah. So this is the riff in our relationship, and like I said, we did a very long episode, the breakup of Opie and Anthony, and this was also the catalyst for the breakup of Opie and Jim Norton ultimately. But you hear the great grape fight, where virtually everything comes out between these two, based on Anthony eating grapes into the microphone.
A lot of people.
Grapes.
You want to eat grapes, and we'll do this after the break.
No, that's okay.
A lot of people have had.
Why don't you eat yogurt?
Huh? I don't do that anymore.
I know. I just.
I really
farted.
don't. I realize that it's annoying, so I just like do it on the side.
All right, in 12 years, you could yell at me.
Come on, I'm fucking around. You're in a bad fucking mood.
I told you I am.
I know, but don't let it affect the fucking show. You're in a bad fucking mood.
Has it the last 2 days?
Yes, it has.
No, it hasn't.
You've been in a cranky fucking mood. I understand we've been fired from fucking CBS and shit, but let me tell you something. I'm not the only one that notices. You're in a cranky fucking mood. Everyone's noticed.
Do you want me to start talking about what people notice about you? Leave it alone.
Yeah, tell me. Go
Leave
ahead.
it alone.
Tell me what people notice about me.
Leave it alone.
I'm not leaving anything alone.
Leave it alone. Leave it alone.
Be honest. What happened?
You had a lot of moments over the last few years. Leave it alone. Seriously.
How did I have moments over the years?
Leave it alone. Just leave it alone.
Why leave it alone?
It was a little
I made
thing.
a fucking joke. It's a joke. It's a funny show.
I didn't go
And
for the joke today. That's all.
You're
Leave it
fucking
alone.
making faces at me.
Leave it alone.
I don't need faces.
Leave it alone. Seriously.
I'm not gonna leave it alone. You didn't leave it alone. You're the one that made the fucking face, and I'm making jokes. It's self-deprecating humor. We do it all the time. We goof on each
I
other.
go for the grape joke. Big fucking deal. If you want, big deal. Just leave it alone.
I made a joke that for 12 fucking years you rattled your spoon in the yogurt. It was funny. It became a bit with the fucking audience. They understand exactly what the fuck we're talking about.
Leave it alone.
Leave it the fuck alone.
Leave it alone.
Holy shit.
I think when Anthony says, I'm not going to leave it alone, I think every guy in that moment could relate to that. We've been in an argument, generally with a woman, but where we're like, stop saying that. Stop telling me to leave it alone. I'm not. Let's talk about it and fucking get past this. It could be solved in 3 seconds. I'm talking about grapes, and you're talking about a lot of things people have noticed about me over the years. You've escalated this.
Yeah.
So I think that was kind of the undressing for a lot of fans that stuck in a lot of people's minds, where they were like, oh, these guys really don't like each other. And it did. Opie, we heard in an earlier clip where Opie would talk about the divide and conquer thing. That would come up a lot, where Opie would say people try to divide and conquer us. Ultimately, it was done kind of by Opie, because he saw Jim and Anthony getting closer, and then, losing their relationship. So Opie got very jealous and resentful of it. Now again, I'm certain Anthony and Jim did things to contribute to this too. It's just a lot easier I'm just a radio fan. I just know what was given to me on the show. I don't know stuff that happened behind the scenes. I don't know any of these guys personally. So from the evidence we have on radio, the evidence to blame Opie is just greater.
Oh yeah.
Things happen over the years. There's, I'm sure, plenty of shit that Anthony did that was annoying, or Jim, or whatever. But the stuff that Opie did was so obvious on the air and just bled out to us as listeners that it was clear that he was the catalyst in at least a lot of these situations.
And next we go to Jocktober.
Yeah, so if you want to hear more about the breakup of Opie and Anthony, we did a full episode about it. We also did an episode about Jocktober. But to me, Jocktober is what makes Opie and Anthony stand out to me, because that's what I was referring to when I said they called out the phoniness of the business a lot. That's why, and Tough Crowd similarly was doing this with politics and television and comedy. Opie and Anthony were able to do that for their image. And this is a thing, the Kirk Minahan show has made fun of this many times. If you've listened, you're very familiar with War of the Roses.
The phone call, and this is always a setup, you fucking assholes, where you get a guy on the line and say, hey, you want a dozen roses, we want to give them to you.
Oh, God.
And then, of course, on a national radio, not a national, whatever, a big radio show, of course he's going to say, well, give it to Leanne. Who's Leanne? Well, she's my mistress. And
She's
then
my girlfriend.
And then on the phone is his actual girlfriend. And,
What? Who's Leanne? Who's Leanne? Oh, I'm so low.
What happened there? My God, we didn't expect this to happen. Oh my God. We thought we were just giving away roses. Holy crap.
Oh my God.
We're in a quandary now.
Oh.
That fucking bit. By big radio shows.
Yeah.
What do they call it? War of the Roses or something?
Oh, yeah.
It's called War of the Roses.
War of the Roses.
Yeah, so that kind of honesty about their industry and exposing other shows in that way. Like I said, they weren't honest about everything. But that sort of honesty is what I think inspired a lot of, like, it's what you see in podcasting now. Like, their influence is tremendous. Again, I understand Howard Stern had a lot to do with that too, but the podcasting model, I think you can almost give Opie and Anthony more credit than Howard Stern, at least in the comedy podcasting realm. Because if you look at the comics that, we're going to get to it, but if you look at the comics that came out of Opie and Anthony, it really was a farm system for podcasting, essentially.
Right. Next we got Staff. I think this clip's about E-Rock.
Yes, it is. So, Opie and Anthony had a lot of great characters on the staff. E-Rock is probably my favorite, but this is something, again, I think, like, Howard Stern did this tremendously. The people who think Opie and Anthony ripped off Howard Stern will probably point to this and say, oh, this is just what they did with Gary or Jackie or whoever. But to me, there was a relationship that they built with their staff that felt more genuine than the Stern stuff at times. So this is them fucking with E-Rock, I believe on his honeymoon, if I'm not mistaken. E-Rock was a man of larger frame. In reality, like, they built him up to be the most obese man on the planet. I think he was just slightly stout. But they called him on his honeymoon.
You gamble?
No.
Well, what do you do?
What did you do?
What'd you do?
Went out, drank, hung out at the beach.
Yeah.
Did you check out the fish tanks?
No.
Why? That's kind of cool. You didn't check out the dolphins yet?
Where'd you go to?
Did you go on the water slides?
Yeah.
Hey, sorry about it took so long. I had to go eat and get, take care of myself, Life's not just about gaming and streaming.
Seriously, what you
I'm also going to check out some messages real quick, because it's easy to do that.
Honestly, don't be so paranoid.
We're just trying something a little different. Relax.
Can we ask you what you're doing on your vacation?
Yeah. And what were you going to say?
I was gonna say I've been there, and it's great.
I've been there too.
Did you try the krill?
Did you hear how you knew the hang-up was gonna happen?
That's whale food.
I just like Norton going, that's whale food.
Yeah, we know.
They spent
Give me
2 hours
2 seconds
fucking with
here.
E-Rock on his honeymoon. They called back and made whale noises to him. but the ball busting on that show, I don't know. It's also possibly because of the time that I listened to Opie and Anthony versus Howard Stern. But to me, it felt more genuine.
Yeah.
Like, and part of that is because Howard Stern literally had writers, Like, I don't know how much of the show was Jackie's writing, but just the idea that Jackie was plopping up lines on the board for Howard to read, it goes to that kind of phoniness that we were talking about that Opie and Anthony just didn't seem to have. So to me, like, they're ball busting with the staff, like Danny and E-Rock and Master Poe and Sam. By the way, I believe the
My bad. I don't know what's happening here. I'm trying to just
it was Opie, Anthony,
capture
and then the great Master Poe.
something. Give me one second.
Master Poe deserves a bonus episode one day. He's a bizarre character. But yeah, their interaction with the staff was great. We also have their characters and comedians, right?
Yep.
What's this?
This is characters here.
Yeah, so Opie and Anthony, I mean, again, influenced by Howard Stern, absolutely. Like, this is essentially they had their own whack pack, but essentially, like, I connected more to what they were doing, particularly in the later years with people like Bobo and Lady Di. Like, I just found it more interesting than making Beetlejuice spell. And Opie and Anthony did some of that, believe me. Like they would have Bobo do math and all that kind of stuff. But the way they use some of these people, to me, I connected with more for whatever reason. So this is Bobo.
So this is your final appearance on the Opie and Anthony show. And we gotta play by the rules this time. There's no coming back.
No, I'll sit through another one of these. I'll find a way to come back.
There's no coming back.
And you don't want him on the shit show either?
No, there's no
I'll
show.
find a way to come back. If I have to be reduced to Ron and Fez, so be it.
I have to be reduced to Ron and Fez.
Alright, there we go. This is almost over, so what's the next thing on the list? Anything particularly? I don't think so. I think this is all pretty standard. So we'll go to Blind Mike. I do want to listen to this next.
You know.
Cool. Excuse me. Alright. I know there's a bunch of enemies down here. Oh hey, Katya, what's up?
You know, like Bo will get bullied on the show, but like he still I think goes to Anthony's parties and stuff like that. Like Anthony had a genuine relationship with a lot of these guys, so like I think ultimately they were good to them. But Bobo I always loved on the show. Like I think he was probably my favorite character. Lady Di was fascinating to listen to. She was a mess of a human being who is in the throes of dementia right now, I believe, if she's still alive. But like, yeah, their cast of characters was very interesting to me. But ultimately, what defines the Opie and Anthony show for a generation of comedy fans is the comics that they would have on, from Nick DiPaolo to Colin Quinn, Bobby Kelly, Rich Voss. The crew, the Tough Crowd roster, essentially migrated over to Opie and Anthony. Bill Burr was a big part of that for a long time.
Not that I ever climbed it myself.
And obviously, the biggest was Patrice O'Neill. And this gives you a vibe of the conversations comics would have on that show. This is a conversation between Louis C.K. and Patrice O'Neill.
Wow, about the Jew thing? I do know where the term kite came from, by the way.
Ah, derogatory term for Jewish people.
I do know where that came from. Where? It is when people used to come over on the, in the ships on Ellis Island. A lot of people couldn't write English, so they used to make their mark, and the Jew's mark was a circle, and the circle is called keikel. So that's what they would just shorten it to kike. The guys say, here's another kike once they see the circle.
You know where nigger came from originally? There was some black guy being a nigger.
Okay, sorry, I don't know what you're saying. There's a lot going on, lady.
Being a real nigger. He said, what a nigger. And that's where it started. It just was nigger was a feeling. It's just like, this
I'll take the name Dima, whatever that means.
Got a sound that it came out like
Reminds me of that guy from Fallout.
Like that, I chose that clip specifically because it's such ball busting. Where Patrice is telling you an actually interesting story. Like, oh, I didn't know that. That's really interesting. Louis interrupts him, and you can tell he's waiting just for him to finish, like immediately when he finishes. You know where this came from? And then to have Patrice add to tag it.
Yeah, it was just a feeling.
With an equally funny line. Like that to me represents so much the ball-busting nature that the comics.
I don't see anyone else here.
And again, I think the reason that O&A has had such an afterlife on YouTube is because Patrice's legacy got much bigger when he died. Bill Burr and Louis C.K.
Oh, I have to go downstairs, don't I?
I mean, you know, same for Colin and a lot of like Rogan and a lot of these guys, but specifically Bill Burr and Louis C.K. had a ton of appearances on
All right, time to go downstairs.
Became, I mean, light years more famous than they were while they were on the show.
Right.
So when, like, there was a time in YouTube when if you typed in Louis C.K. or Bill Burr, the first things that would come up would be Opie and Anthony clips. So it just introduced a lot of people to those old shows, those old archives. So the comedians that they brought into me, and the roster of comedians is so like legendary. Like, it seems like they didn't miss. The guys they had on regularly were truly the best comedians working at that time. So,
and still today.
And still today in a lot of cases, yeah.
But we're at our favorite segment of this program. Is Norm McDonald.
Can we just grab the shell?
Flew by. But yes, Norm was on the Opie and Anthony show once, so of course we have to get to our boy Norm. We try to weasel him into any episode we can. And this is just a great line that he had in his appearance. They're talking about his Twitter account, which was legendary. Yes. His Twitter, I assume purposely so, but you never quite know. He had a horrendous.
All right, who else is here?
But every once in a while, you'd have some gems that people still didn't understand.
Some people too fucking think it's serious. Like I tweeted one that I said I don't know. I said like my father was brutally murdered last week, and it's only now I can look back and laugh. They go like, I'm so sorry. Like, its closure takes a while. Man. So I had to go. No, it was a joke.
How would anyone read that and not, especially from you, and not think it's a joke?
Last week. It's only now I can look back and laugh. It's a shame Norm wasn't on there more, because Norm would have been tremendous on this.
He's right up Anthony's alley.
That's an example to me, like, I think that outlet...
It must be on the other side of this wall here.
...ability to thrive more. Like, Howard would still essentially try to interview Colin, and you would hear...
Come around here.
Colin was on, like, Howard was trying to get to the bottom of what was wrong with Colin.
Oh, punk.
Like, it was more of an interview setup where Opie and Anthony was like, hey, if you want to take us in whatever direction you want, man. We'll lead if we have to, but it's all you. And Opie said something. I don't know that he necessarily lived by this code, but I think it was a good philosophy for him to have as someone that wasn't necessarily the funniest guy in the room. He said if Patrice O'Neal comes on this show and kills, or, you know, Rich Voss comes on and like has some hilarious moment or whatever, people say the Opie and Anthony show today was great. Like, we don't have to speak and we'll get credit for the show being good.
Right.
And I think their awareness of that, to me, was what set them apart from Howard, where they didn't necessarily have to...
Okay, I don't want this.
They could just facilitate...
Do want this, though.
And, you know, that's not to detract from anything Howard did. Just that's why it's my... the show that I chose as a young lad.
I did too. It's the best show ever. It really was.
Is there one clip we're gonna finish out with?
There is.
Yeah.
The first time we haven't ended with Norm, I think, when he's on the show.
I figured. So I struggled with this. I toiled over this, folks.
I know why.
I said we always end with Norm, but Patrice is also our guy on this show. We have 2 yearly episodes. We do Norm and we do Patrice every year, no matter what, without fail. I feel like those are the 2 mascots of this show. And so, to me, this is the representative moment of the Opie and Anthony show and Patrice. It's one of the biggest laughs Patrice ever had in his life, and it is the up and down game with the aforementioned Bobo. So to give it a little context.
Alright, so I'm still looking for a helix.
Bobo had a deformed penis after many, many surgeries throughout the course of his life. And that penis would go up and down.
Oh, thank God,
He was a
food.
virile young man. And you would talk about, intercourse with an attractive woman. You'd show him pictures or talk about a sexual situation, and Bobo's little pecker would spring right up to full attention, rock hard. And then you would talk about the New York Metropolitans baseball team and the struggles their bullpen might be having at the time, the lack of depth they had on the bench, and you would see that penis immediately start to go down. He was a healthy boy. It was amazing how quickly he was able to go back and forth, and this is Patrice reacting to that.
Take you to a hotel after?
Oh, man.
Well, yeah, of course, the way that she'd slide those little thong panties off.
Oh.
She wear a bra? Yeah, but you know what I might get her next time I have to tell her? I might get her one of those, you can take you that thing, you can say she
Holy crap, what a haul. What gun's this for? No, thank you. Just sold one of those. Ooh, ow, that didn't feel good.
Big J. Okerson in there as well.
Was he?
Yeah, he snuck his way in there. But yeah, obviously a classic moment, and Patrice dying was a big blow overall to Opie and Anthony. I think the episode we're going to do this year.
All right, time to climb out of here now.
Is a breakdown of the funeral show that Opie and Anthony did.
Oh, good.
So one of the best episodes of Opie and Anthony ever, if not the best. So we will get to that at a later date. But for now, I hope you guys.
I wish this was better.
A brief history, a beginner's guide to Opie and Anthony. We covered the basics, and in previous episode and future episodes, we get more in depth. But I felt like this is a good navigation for people to start. If you're like, where do I start looking things up for Opie and Anthony? Now you know to look up, certain interviews.
All right, can we get out of here now?
October or different comics, whatever. Might make searching for specific content a little easier for you. So hopefully we provided something, some kind of entertainment that you just listened to. And if you like it and want more, if you want early access as well as bonus content to episodes.
Oh, he's right above me, isn't he?
You can subscribe. You can become a member on Patreon or YouTube, or just support the show for free. Like, comment, subscribe wherever you get podcasts. Leave a 5-star review. We appreciate all support, and we will talk to you guys.
Okay, we're just gonna save.
Verygoodshow.org. Don't forget that. Don't sleep on that.
Don't forget me.
And hackridethedemon.com.
And we can go straight through, right? Oh no, there's enemies.
On here. So we'll talk to you guys next time on Why You Laughing.
Zip it up and zip it out.
It's almost morning. Which is good, I suppose. We're just going straight ahead. Oh man. I just want it to be over. I just want to be back at home base where it's safe. Alright, cool. Ate a whole thing. straight ahead, right? I think I've cleared out that whole thing, so I'm pretty sure I'm safe straight ahead. Alright, there should be full auto, I think. Any seekers nearby? Ah, there's a fragment on my tail. Pew pew pew. Pew. Not worth the bullet. I'm just gonna ignore that guy. Oh, I missed that turn there. Alright, man, fuck you. We don't have to fight. Alright, we're out. Alright, I know I dropped some frames there, but we're back at base now. I'm a little too tired, so I'm just gonna go ahead and head to bed now. We finished Why Are You Laughing? I also finished my quest, so next time I can do a little bit of spending and hopefully buy the PPSH to use this magazine for right here. Excuse me. Alright, we're gonna hit a save right here, and we're out for the night. Alright, I appreciate everyone stopping by. I just wanted to say thank you so much for stopping by. But if you want to check it out next time, you can just stop on by. I'm Tashi says I'll come back next stream. I hope so. And we also had Switch Animates. I found this randomly and I recommended. So thanks for switching by. You know, I appreciate it. Either way, check out Blind Mike on YouTube. Have a good night.